Hi everyone! I know this story probably comes with the speed of Internet Explorer, but I wanted to do it anyway. So, today I'm going to be talking about Empress Matilda, who was the main character in the war called the Anarchy, and served as an inspiration for House of the Dragon Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra. Anyways, I won't lie. I've watched little of the latest season because I'm tired of paying for so many streaming devices. I've watched the important bits on YouTube clips, so I think I'm good. Anyway, I won't ramble here, so let's get started. Empress Matilda, she was a key figure in English history, known for her main role in the Civil War, aka the Anarchy. Matilda was one of the first women to actively claim the English throne, which was unusual in the medieval world. Matilda's granddad was William the Conqueror. He started out as the Duke of Normandy, but in 1066, William crossed the English Channel from Normandy, defeated Harold Godwinson at the Battle of Hastings, and became the first Norman king of England. His conquest completely changed the face of England, establishing a new dynasty and forever linking England to France, because that's what you want to be forever linked to France. He had three kids. The eldest, Robert. The second, William Rufus. Why would they name him Rufus? Wasn't that the rat in Kim Possible? And Henry the First. Yeah, you can tell where this is going. Now, when William the Conqueror, died in 1087, he divided his lands this way. Robert Curthhouse got Normandy. William Rufus became the King of England. And Henry I received, I don't know, just Henry Tate's Kit Kat. They also had a sister named Adela, but since she was a woman, they gave both. Now, sometime after, William II died in a mysterious haunting accident in the year 1100. This happened while Robert was on a crusade. He was actually on the first crusade. That was a long time ago. Henry said, "Finders keepers," and seized the English throne. Robert renounced his claim in exchange for a pension through all his life. But yeah, that didn't work out since a few years later, Henry wanted Normandy, so he defeated Robert at the Battle of Tinchebray. Tinchebray, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that, and imprisoned him for the rest of his life, uniting England and Normandy. Basically, Henry sucks. And he also was Matilda's dad, just for you to get the picture. Matilda was born in 1102. She was the daughter of King Henry I of England and Matilda of Scotland. From a young age, she was thrust into the world of politics and power. Sadly, as many children in the medieval world, she didn't have a normal childhood. In 1110, Henry I arranged for 8-year-old Matilda, keep that in mind, 8-year-old Matilda, to marry Henry V, the Holy Roman Emperor, who, by the way, was 24 years old at that time. Way to go, Henry, way to go. She got sent off to Germany, where she would learn the costumes, language, political dynamics of the imperial court at 8. I know I'm saying 8 too much, but listen, I can ask for extra ketchup without practicing it in my mind. And this 8-year-old was there receiving classes on how to handle an empire. She really received an education that was uncommon for a woman of the time, considering that at the time in rural areas, peasants thought any woman who could add was a witch. So, anyhow, by 12, she was crowned Queen of the Romans in 1114. Once she was married, she became known as the Empress Matilda. Her marriage to Henry V was childless. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. And marked by her active participation in the affairs of the Holy Roman Empire. Basically, she child-bossed, literally because she was 12. Now, this is where things start to get interesting for Matilda. Matilda has one full brother named William Adeline, and at least from 20 to 25 bastard siblings. Boy, Henry didn't know the word monogamy. Like, I get this really wasn't considered cheating by medieval standards, but come on, like, it was supposed to be an heir and a spare, not 25 spares. You know what I mean? Like, William Adelin was 1 year younger than Matilda, but since he was a male, he was the heir to the throne. Because God forbid a woman. William is said to be the perfect heir and son until he wasn't. This is the part of the story where we talk about the white ship disaster. In 1120, William Adelin, the son of Henry I, was made honorary Duke of Normandy and had to go pay homage to the King of France. Because let's remember, Normandy was technically French territory. So he had to. Anyways, Henry was like, listen, Willie, I don't really want to go bend the knee to some French guy. So, can you do it for me? He persuaded Louis VI to upset William's loyalty instead. After fulfilling his duty, William joined his father in the Normandy port of Barfleur. I can't pronounce that, I'm sorry. He made his own travel arrangements because let's remember that Henry sucks. William was offered voyage on the white ship, captained by Thomas Fitzstephen, whose family had a history of serving English royalty. The passengers, including William, got messed up in French wine, and they also shared with the crew. Yeah. I don't know who thought it would be a good idea to share it with the designated driver, but that's exactly what they did. As a white ship set sail, the crew, eager to overtake the king's vessel because they were dumb and messed up, neglected safety and struck a submerged rock. And that's when everything went downhill. Or sea, however you want to call it. The ship began sinking rapidly. Now, apparently, some records say that while panic erupted, William was placed onto a small lifeboat by his bodyguards, but sweet William heard his sister Matilda Fitzroy, one of the 20 from 25 other children. By the way, there's a lot of Matildas in this story, so I'm sorry. He heard her calling for help and decided to turn the lifeboat to save her. Yeah, the people that was in the water, mind you, they were 300 passengers on the ship when this happened. They started to climb onto the little lifeboat, and this ultimately led to the boat capsizing and resulting in both William and Matilda Fitzroy drowning. Now, with William dead, Henry I had no other heir than Matilda. So, Matilda is living her best medieval life as the Holy Roman Empress, until her husband, the Holy Roman Emperor, up and dies on her on 1125. Poor Matilda is suddenly single again at the old medieval age of 23. King Henry I is like, well, Willie drowned, so I guess you're plan B. And I just imagined him doing like the figure guns, like plan B. Matilda had already experienced controlling the Holy Roman Empire, so it felt natural for her to be the heir. Now Henry I has no male heir. Thanks, white ship. So in 1126, he does what any medieval king would do. He gathers all the old scandal-looking barons and makes them swear an oath to Matilda as his official heir. And I just imagine them like, yeah, I swear to support your daughter. This was a bold move for Henry as it challenged the traditional norms of the time. So, moving forward to the year 1128, Matilda is 26 and back at the royal dating game. Her dad arranges for her to marry Geoffrey of Anjou, who was 15. I kept hearing Law and Order SUV intro while I was researching for this. Geoffrey was furry and rocking a bold fashion choice. He always wore a string of yellow broom blossom. hence his nickname, Geoffrey Plantagenet. Which, to be honest, is kinda cool. However, their marriage was rocky from the start. Oh my god, so marrying a teenager wasn't a good idea. Matilda and Geoffrey had strong personalities and often clashed, and also it didn't help that Geoffrey was hated in England. Overall, they weren't really popular as a couple. Against all odds, Matilda and Geoffrey got the job done. She gives birth to a baby boy named Henry in 1133. Soon after, pops out a couple more sons. This was good for her and the context of the time. Her ability to give birth to male heirs was crucial, and it ensured the continuation of the family line because everybody wants to keep having Henry I in their bloodline. Crap hits the fan in year 1135. Matilda's father, Henry I, dies. She's all set to pack up and claim her crown, right? Wrong. There's always that one cousin. And you know who I'm talking about. Yeah. Stephen of Blois. Blois, whatever. Matilda's cousin and a bit of an opportunistic who pulls the ultimate Judas move. With Matilda still busy in France, Stephen rushes to England and declares himself king. He basically pulled a Henry I move. Matilda's reaction? She did not like that. I don't want to take too much time talking about this dumbass. He was the son of Adela of Normandy, Henry I's sister. You remember? Also, no hate to Stephens out there, but Stephen's gotta be the lamest name for a king. I'm sorry, just like Rufus. But listen, maybe they're cool names. Maybe I'm just not cool enough to see it, but they're cool names. I don't know. Anyways, Matilda finally storms into England in 1139, ready to take Stephen down. This kicks off a whole civil war known as the Anarchy, and it goes on for almost two decades. Almost 2 decades, because it lasts 19 years. Do you imagine being a regular person in the middle of this for 19 years just because cousin Stephen decided he wanted the throne? It's always that one cousin. At one point, Matilda even has Stephen captured in 1141, and things are looking up. She even got the name Lady of the English. But before she could get crowned, she overplays her hand. And people from London were like, yo, she a bit too bossy. And they basically kick her out before the coronation party even starts. Matilda had a half-brother named Robert of Gloucester and a skilled military leader. As the son of Henry I and his mistress, one of the mistresses, Robert supported Matilda's claim to the throne and played a crucial role in several battles against King Stephen. In September 1141, Robert was captured by Stephen's forces, which was a significant setback for my girl Matilda. She negotiated to trade Stephen in exchange for Robert in November 1141. My personal headcanon is that they had a super strong and close sibling bond, but yeah, whatever. Now, after that time, Matilda did 2 battles, Mission Impossible quality escapes, that I personally think are iconic. The first, in 1141, during this tumultuous time, Matilda faced a precarious situation while in the Vice's castle. To avoid capture, she had herself wrapped in a shroud and was carried out of the castle by her supporters, pretending that she was a corpse. Okay. This allowed her to slip past Stephen's guards undetected and regroup with her forces. Man, that is embarrassing. Like, if I was a guard, wouldn't I find that suspicious if we're looking for someone or we're trying to avoid someone leaving. But that's just me. Now, later in 1142, Matilda needed to escape once again. It happened one freezing, snowy night in December. Wrapped in a heavy white cloak, Matilda was lowered from the walls of the Oxford castle. Camouflaged in thick snowfall, she snuck past the enemy lines. Bro, at this point, Stephen needs to reconsider some things. Like, I don't know, hire new people, bro. Anyways, the war continued for another 11 years. Geoffrey had conquered Normandy in her name in 1143, but in England, neither side could achieve a victory. Rebel barons began to acquire power in northern England and East Anglia, with widespread devastation of the region of major fighting. Basically, it was a mess everywhere. In 1148, Matilda returned to Normandy, leaving the campaign in England to her eldest son, Henry. Stephen had also a son named Eustace, but he died in 1153. Later that year, Stephen and Henry agreed to the Treaty of Winchester, like the brothers, in which Stephen recognized Henry as his heir in exchange for peace, passing over William, Stephen's second son. Also, Stephen died the following year and Henry became Henry II. At the end, Matilda may not have worn the crown herself, but she paved the way for her son to become one of the most famous kings of England. Matilda spent the rest of her life in Normandy, often acting as Henry's representative, and in her old age paid increasing attention to church affairs and her personal faith, which I love that for her, although she remained involved in governing Normandy throughout her life. Matilda died the 10th of September of 1167 at the old age of 65. Her tomb epigraph says, "Great by birth, greater by marriage, greatest in her offspring. Here lies Matilda, the daughter, the wife, and the mother." Which, to be honest, I don't know who wrote that because it sounds like she was the daughter, the wife, and the mother of the same Henry. But who am I to judge? A little nice touch is that Henry, her son, called himself Henry Fitz-Empress. Fitz-Empress meaning son of the Empress, asserting his mother's position. Personality-wise, it is said that Matilda was really hard to deal with. She was egoistic, proud, and overbearing, arranging everything as she thought fit. I don't know if this is true or it's just the typical case of a woman doing something and being called hysterical for no reason. But I also didn't want to leave that out. Anyways, this war was particularly hard on regular people, even by medieval standards, which is a lot. One chronicler stated, and I love this phrase, but he said, "Christ and all his saints were asleep." And I think that's hell of a quote. In the aftermath, Matilda is the ancestor of the Plantagenet dynasty, and her grandson is the famous Richard the Lionheart. Like, I didn't know they were related. Good, I guess. This dynasty would ultimately come to an end with Richard III. The Plantagenet dynasty lasted for approximately 331 years, which is a lot. Anyways, just to end this, I just want a little mention to Robert Curthose, the older brother of Henry I. Remember that he was imprisoned for most of his life until his death because Henry wanted Normandy. Bobby lived to be 83 years old. That's the oldest I've come across in a medieval story. I just wanted to highlight that, like, it's pretty crazy to think he managed to stay alive for so long in a time where there was no ibuprofen. even though he wasn't alive for much of this story, it's just crazy to me, I guess. I don't know, maybe it's not crazy. Well, that's all for today. I had a lot of fun with this one, even though it was hard because medieval stories are hard. Also, moral of the story, karma hits like a truck. If I had a coin for every man that usurps a throne and then sees his son die, I would have two coins, which isn't much, but it is still weird that it happened twice. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.